So we've now reached the Devil card. Now, this card can be summed up in two words: addiction and enslavement. Now, by addiction, that doesn't necessarily mean what most people would immediately go to, which would be drug or alcohol addiction. If we think that most people are in one of two states, they're either chasing physical pleasure or they're running away from something that will effectively make them feel bad. Whenever you're in this kind of mentality, then I would say that you are enslaved to some form of addiction. So that could be just a pursuit of physical pleasure, it could be food, it could be drugs, alcohol, sex, but something that is controlling you, something that is an addictive part of your personality that is dictating how you think, how you behave. Now, if we just look at the card, and as usual, we'll go to the Rider-Waite card first because that's the most common. One of the key aspects that we can see on this card is that, yes, the people are bound with chains, but the chains are not tying their hands or legs or arms up. They're around their necks, and they can easily take these chains off their necks. So just think about what that means. It basically is showing that when you are within this stage of the journey, that you might be enslaved by something, or you probably are enslaved by something, but you can easily remove these chains yourself. You can free yourself from this enslavement. Now, this card and this period of the journey, it also heavily ties into the higher guardian angel ritual and process, the HGA. And this, I would say, a lot of people get intimidated by rituals like this because they believe that it's a very advanced stage, but it really isn't. For someone that's reached the level of adept, to put it in the context of life progression, this would be sort of teenage, puberty kind of stage of the actual whole process. But one aspect of the HGA ritual is that you, at some point, you need to invoke the 7 major demonic forces that are represented as things like lust, greed, gluttony. So, for example, Asmodeus, Mammon, and you bind them. You bind them so that they are no longer able to exert an influence over your life and control you. So another aspect of where you are and what this card is representing is that you are starting to see and understand and take control of your addictions. You're no longer being pulled by lust, by wrath, anger, by greed, by money, the pursuit of money just for the sake of it. You're actually starting to see how these things influence you, how they influence your life, your thinking, your behaviour, and you're starting to remedy these enslavements. So when this card comes up in readings, I always think of it as showing that you are being dominated in some aspects, particularly by a concentration on the pleasures of the material world, luxuries, if you want to call it that, the physical pleasures that we all need and are important to everyone's life, but can also dominate a lot of people's lives and can really take control, whether that's a quest for power, greed, material possessions just for the sake of it to dominate other people. But what actually happens is you are allowing these things to actually dominate you. And it's kind of a warning card that you need to take a step back and actually process and analyze these aspects of your life so that you can move through them and past them. It really also ties heavily into what we call shadow work. A lot of these addictions or enslavements are actually part of our shadow, and that's a very difficult process for a lot of people to go through. And if you want to stay in that period, that's absolutely fine. But once you have reached this stage and gained all of this knowledge, then you always have a choice, but you really do have a choice of, do I actually face these things, this shadow side of myself, or do I pull back and just allow them to dominate me and my life? So that's the choice that you have to effectively make at this point. So that was the Devil card, and thank you for watching.